When I was a young man, I had a revelation that changed my life. I had read articles and sometimes books on time management over the years and made some lists and set some priorities and things like that. And I always felt, however, that my life was the sun and that all the different factors of my life were like planets that orbited around my life. And whether that was physical fitness or socializing or work or time management, they were all planets in orbit. What changed my life was when I realized that time management is the sun and everything that I do is the planets in orbit. Everything we do in life revolves around time because time is life. Time is the substance of our life. Is that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your time management. That everything we have or are or ever will be a direct result of how we use our time. And the wonderful thing is we're always free to choose how we use our time. Here's an important point. You see, in life, there's never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the important things. It's the number one key to effectiveness is to be able to sit down and look at your work and use the 80-20 rule. Say to yourself, which is the 20% of the number of things that I have to do that account for 80% of the value of my work? And always work on the top 20%. Successful people, peak performers, concentrate on the top items. And remember, anything other than working on the top items on your list is a waste of your time. And time management is not just time management is life management. You can do anything you want with your life if you'll manage your time properly. We all have the same 24 hours a day, and the ability to concentrate, discipline yourself, to use willpower and perseverance to concentrate on one thing at a time is a quality of all success. Nothing great has ever been accomplished without the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing at a time. Here is my favorite time management question, which I give to you for free. Before you start anything, ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Make a list and say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? When you get into your car, say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? When you leave the house or leave the office, say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Ask yourself that question over and over and over again. Repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until it's driven into the subconscious mind as a command. And whenever you have a temptation to do something that is small and irrelevant, that command will go, blam, what is the most valuable use of your time right now? And it'll push you into doing what is the most valuable use of your time. And whenever you're working on the most valuable use of your time, you feel great. You get concentrated effort is a source of energy and enthusiasm. It makes you feel wonderful when you're working on something important, and it makes you feel nothing when you're working on something irrelevant.
One of the little exercises I do, I say, how many people here would like to double their income? And everybody raises their hand. I say, well, I know several different ways to double your income that are absolutely guaranteed, but let me just give you one to start off with before the seminar. I say, imagine that you have two types of activities that you engage in each day. And we'll call these A activities and B activities, in two different categories. A activities are those activities that move you toward the goals that are most important to you. Those are the most important things that you do every minute of every day. B activities are activities that not only do not move you toward your goals, in many cases they move you away. They are basically distractions. They're wastes of time. They're the chatting with your friends and checking your email and all these things that are totally valueless activities. So here you have these two categories. If you want to double your income, do only A activities and don't do B activities and do them all day long. And if you'll do that and develop the habit of doing that, you'll double your productivity, your performance, your output, your income, and your rate of promotion. And it's absolutely guaranteed. And I know it because I've taught it all over the world. And when I go back, people come up to me and say, you told me that idea and you were here a year ago. I'm earning 3 times more today than I ever thought I would earn in my life. I can't believe it. I just don't do anything that's not moving me toward a financial goal. And whatever you do repeatedly eventually becomes a habit. So you get up in the morning, you plan your day, and you start on your most important task, and you stay at it till it's done. And then you do the next important task. You stay at that till it's done. If all you did was 3 important tasks each day, you'd be one of the highest performing and highest paid people in your field, whatever your field is. Many people have told me, come up to me with their eyes and faces shining in my seminars. You know, I speak to about 250,000 people a year in about 20 to 25 countries a year. I've spoken in 82 countries. I just got back from Vietnam a couple of days ago, and before that I was on a 53-day trip throughout Europe, Russia, Kazakhstan, and the Middle East. So I go to a lot of places. When I come back, he comes up to me and he says, that ABCD method, that doubled my income. He said, I'm on my way to becoming a millionaire. He said, I use it every day. And what it is this. We say, make a list of everything you have to do before you start.
Mm-hmm.
The very act of making a list will make you rich.
Yeah.
So what I do is you make a list, and then before you start, you go over the list and you divide it into 5 categories, A, B, C, D, E. Now, an A is what is called a must task. And one of the most important words in time management or in life management or in success is the word consequences. Consequences. So something is important if it has big potential consequences for your life. Something is unimportant if it has low or no consequences. What is the reason for success and failure? Successful people focus on those activities that have the largest potential consequences. What do unsuccessful people do? They waste their time on things that have low or no consequences, but they're fun and they're easy and they're enjoyable. And whatever you do consistently becomes a habit. So low performing people are always doing things of low value. So you say an A task is a task that you must do. If you don't do this, there's going to be serious potential consequences for your boss, for your banker, for your bills, this is important. So that's an A task, and you write an A next to it. And then your B tasks are are things that you should do. They have mild consequences. Get back to certain emails and call your friend and so on. You should do these, but they have mild consequences and nowhere near as important as A task. C task is a task that has no consequences. Whether you do it or not do it, it makes no difference at all. And so you only do C tasks after you've done your A and B tasks. You only do B tasks after you've done your A tasks. Now the last two, A, B, C, D, E, D is delegate. And the rule is delegate everything you possibly can rather than doing it yourself. You only have a certain amount of time, and you cannot spend the time doing low-value, no-value tasks. One of the things I teach people, again, double your income, it's very simple. I ask a question. I say, in terms of your time, how much do you earn? And they say, well, how much do you, no, but what I mean is how much do you earn per hour? I learned this from a successful multimillionaire who, when I met him, had nothing and was deeply in debt. And when I met him again, a good friend of mine, he was a multimillionaire. And he asked me, how much do you earn? And I said, well, I'm trying to think on a monthly, annual basis. He said, no, how much do you earn per hour? And that started me thinking about that. And then the more I look at successful people and study their biographies, I find that successful people allocate their time in tighter and tighter amounts. Like you and I, we have 40 minutes and so on. So they tighter and tighter amounts. And really successful people allocate their time in 10-minute amounts. I called a friend of mine, actually spoke to him again yesterday. He's very wealthy. He's worth about $100 million, starting from knocking on doors on the street. He owned hotels, office building, very smart guy. Anyway, when I called him up a couple of years ago for an appointment, he said, I can speak to you between between 10:40 and 10:50 on Thursday, this particular day. I said, geez, that's pretty precise. He said, yes. He said, I have an appointment at 11 o'clock, and I will be getting into my car at 10, my limousine, which is being driven by my valet, and I will have one phone call to make, and I'll have a 10-minute window on this trip. And then I have to get out of the car to be on time at my appointment in downtown Manhattan. And I'll tell you, I called him on the second, and we spoke. He said, let's get straight to the point because we now only have 9 minutes left. And boy, we did. We go through a lot of stuff in 9 minutes. And at 10 minutes, he said, time's up. Talk to you again soon. And I never forgot that. And this guy is rich, starting from nothing because he allocates his time so tightly. So then I would say to him, so how much do you earn? Okay, let's say you earn $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year divided by 2,000, which is the number of hours that an entrepreneur, a self-employed person earns, is $50 an hour. So therefore, you are a $50 an hour person. If you want to double your income, you have to become a $100 an hour person. So what are the activities that pay you $50 an hour or more? And then as we'll talk about it, then there's only 3. There's only 3 activities that pay you whatever your job is, that pay you $50 an hour or more. So then you learn the great word of time management, which is the word no. And you do not do anything that does not pay you your desired hourly rate. If you want to earn $100 an hour, there's still only 3 things. They're probably the 3 main things you're doing now, but you have to do them better, and you have to do more of them. And so D is delegate everything that does not pay you your desired hourly rate. Do not make your own coffee, and do not make your own photocopies, and do not waste your time reading sports pages because nobody from the outside is going to come and pay you $50 an hour. So you always ask, would I pay somebody else $50 or $100 an hour to do what I'm doing right now? And if the answer is no, stop doing it. And finally, number 5, A, B, C, D, E, is eliminate. Is most of us are doing things that we started to do at a certain time in life, and they may have been important or appropriate, but now they're of no value at all, and that because of the force of habit, we just keep doing them all the time. You know, and it's quite astonishing. Stop doing it. Just stop doing things that no longer have any value. One of the things I put into my courses more and more is to avoid the attraction of distraction. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to a really smart woman talk about strategic planning, and she gave us seven points, all of which I know. But the 7th point was this, and she said, write this down on a sticky note and put it everywhere so you see it all the time. And here's what it said. Here's the question. Before you start to do something, ask, is this moving me toward one of my most important goals, or is it merely a distraction? What a great question. Is this moving me toward one of my most important goals? Is it merely a distraction? I say, is it merely a time waster? And do that every single time before you do anything. Check. And just like we talked about A and B tasks, make sure that everything you're doing is moving you toward one of your most important goals. And if you do it repeatedly, it becomes a habit. It becomes easier to do than not to do. I'm the best-selling time management author in the world. And one of the things I learned is just say no. If it's not a high-value use of your time, don't even start it. Just say no. Can you help me move on the weekend? No. Can you do this for me? Pick this up for me? Do that? No. I'm sorry. It's not a good use of my time. Thank you very much for thinking of me. But why don't you find somebody who's going nowhere with their life and has lots of spare time and get them to do it? But for me, I simply can't afford it. You know, Warren Buffett started with $2,000. He's now worth $350 billion. Last year, he made $24.9 billion in profit. Started with $2,000. And they asked him, what is your secret to success? He said, my secret to success is simply, he said, I say no to everything, except for the 2 or 3 things that pay me the kind of money I want to earn. The 2 or 3 things that I do that are most important to my business. I just say no to everything. No.
We're not saying not to be social with people, but we're saying to be very choosy and picky with our time. Before we get there, maybe you can tell us, what is our most valuable financial asset?
Yes, and it is your earning ability. It's your ability to earn money. And your earning ability is defined as your ability to get results that people will pay you for. And 80% or more of people, the bottom 80%, have never thought of this. And so your earning ability is made up of your ability to get results. And then we go right around, and there's 3 things that you do in any job that account for 90% of your results. So your job is to figure out what those 3 things are. And then I'll go through an exercise. And then I say, now here's the key. First of all, do fewer things. Don't try to do everything. Do fewer things. And the fewer things you do, the more you can focus on your big 3. The next thing is do them all day long. And then the third thing is get better at each one. So here's a very simple system. Identify your big 3 that account for 90% of your value. Is stop everything else. Just say no. Then work single-mindedly on those 3 all day, and then concentrate on getting better. Continually upgrade your skills so you become really good at those 3. That'll do more to increase your earning ability faster and with greater consistency than anything else you can do. I asked a friend of mine, I always ask them, have you read any good books lately? And she said, well, the best book I've read recently is called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which is one of the most respected books. It sold 1.5 million copies. I just read a huge article on it just last week. And I said, really? I respected her. I bought the book and I read it. And it's really heavy going. The guy Daniel Kahneman, they call him Danny, got a Nobel Prize for insights that are in that book. And so I thought about that. I said, isn't that interesting? And basically what he said is that you can think fast or slow. Standard thinking is you think fast, quick, instinctive, intuitive, like driving through busy traffic. You don't take a lot of time to think. And however, there are certain things where you need to think slowly. And when I talk about his stuff, I say it's the things that have the biggest potential consequences. And those are the careers that you pick, the people you marry, the investments that you make, and so on. So what you do is you think slowly on those things that have the biggest potential consequences. Now, Kahneman's insight, which got him a Nobel Prize, was that people use fast thinking when they should be using slow thinking. And they make important decisions too quickly, and they are too easily influenced by irrelevant information and so on. So I started to think about that, and I said, geez, there's a lot of different ways of thinking, so I wrote this book. It took me about a year to write this, and it's called Get Smart. And Get Smart says how to think and act like the most successful and highest paid people in every field. And what it does is it shows 10 different ways of thinking. And winner thinking, loser thinking. And how do winners think? How do losers think? Short-term perspective versus long-term. Slow thinking versus fast thinking. Informed thinking versus uninformed thinking. It's astonishing how many people make decisions with long-term consequences without enough information. And you'll find that you're smartest people of all. Peter Drucker, I just bought this book last week. It's called The Peter F. Drucker Reader. Yep. I love Peter Drucker. He has one-liners that are life-changing. One of the things he said in one of his books years ago, I never forgot, he said that if you gather enough information in any area, the correct decision rises to the top like cream rises to the top of milk. It's just keep gathering information, and at a certain point, it becomes clear. If it's not clear, continue to gather information. And you think, you'll find that every big problem you had in life is you made a decision that was the wrong decision. You didn't have enough information. Darn, if I had just done more research, I wouldn't have made that decision in the first place. I've lost a fortune by not doing enough research. So there, and then we have result-oriented thinking versus activity-oriented thinking. One of the characteristics of all successful people is they're described by others as being intensely result-oriented. They get a lot of results in their field. They produce vastly more than the average person. So this is a time management chapter. It's all the different ways that people think, the A, B, C, D, E method, the 1, 2, 3, and so on. And then we have positive thinking versus negative thinking, obviously. Flexible thinking versus rigid thinking. There's a book that sold 1 million copies called Mindset. And it said there's 2 types of thinking, flexible thinking versus fixed thinking. I was teaching that 35 years ago. And this woman writes it down and said, did you know, if you think more flexibly and continue to learn, you'll be more successful than if you have a fixed thinking and you don't learn anything. Wow, what an insight that is. 1 million copies. Can you imagine that? 1 million copies. Anyway, I have creative thinking versus mechanical thinking, then entrepreneurial thinking versus corporate thinking. If you're working for a company, think like an entrepreneur. Think like a person who's responsible for getting results and helping the company move forward, not a 9-to-5er who wastes their time. And then finally, my last chapter, which I love, is called Rich Thinking versus Poor Thinking. How do rich people think? And there's lots of research on this, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating how rich people think. And all you have to do, like a searchlight, is just change your thinking and start thinking this way rather than that way.
I gotta jump in there since you brought it up. People are going to be asking, how do rich people think?
Well, rich people are always thinking about creating value for customers. That's all they think about is, what is it that people want and need that I can give them in a cost-effective way? Poor people are always thinking how much everything costs and how they can't afford it, and they go home and watch TV. So you'll find, whether it's Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or anybody who's wealthy, or even a small entrepreneur. I mean, I just read a little story in our local newspaper. There's a company that's called Burgers 50/50. Mm-hmm. And this young guy developed this hamburger that's 50% beef and 50% pork or something like that. It's a hamburger. And he started called Burgers 50/50. He's got 6 burger places now, and he just sold them all for $2 million to another company. And you think about that, and this guy came up with this idea 6 or 7 years ago of making burgers that tasted differently because they had a different combination of meat. And what was his thought? His thought was he probably tried it out on himself, tried it out on his friends, and said, people really like this. What a great idea. If I could make this available, just like Ray Kroc and McDonald's, if I could make this available to more people, I could make money. And he did, and he did. And that's how rich people think. They're always looking, what is it that people want and need and are willing to pay for that I can produce? And this is the key to entrepreneurship. I can combine all the ingredients necessary to bring the product to the customer at a total cost that's lower than what the customer will pay. Mm-hmm. I spent several thousand hours studying economics, and free market economics is just based on that. You bring the product or service to people who want it and need it and will use it and pay for it at a cost lower than what they're willing to pay. That's a secret to success in business. So that's one of about 17 ways that rich people think. Another thing, rich people get up before 6 o'clock in the morning. Rich people get up early, and rich people have rituals. Rich people get up. My basic ritual is get up and exercise. Mm-hmm. Then get ready for the entire day, and then plan the day if I haven't already done that. and then organize priorities, and then start work. Get on with it. Start working. And the average rich person is actually working by 8 o'clock. And the average rich person works about 10 hours a day on average, 60 hours a week. It works about 6 days a week. There's no rich people that work 5 days a week. There's no rich people that work 8 hours a day. There's no rich people that get up at 7 o'clock and run around in circles to get off to work on time. And so you just say, well, this is really simple stuff. Yes, it is. So do it. And if you do it repeatedly, it becomes a habit. It becomes easier to do than not to do.